A New Hope, Nier Chapter 96. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of Azazyel's stories. The term of the week was social upheaval. Ozpin thought wryly as he played with his scroll and saw on the weird YouTube side app to the Oracle app that allowed people to post videos to the internet of Remnant. And of course, what was the most popular thing in Remnant to worry about? A massive section of video creators came out of the blue as people learned through other videos how to illegally unlock their auras and find their own semblances. And what did the vast majority of the young, damned idiots do when they found out they had superpowers that lived in the mostly sheltered parts of Vale? They obviously attempted to fight crime, or even more stupidly they somehow got past the city's walls and attempted to fight Grimm with their newfound powers and any decent melee weapons they could get their hands on if they couldn't actually just afford a gun. Ozpin, Beacon is again being asked by the Vale's council to either censor the Oracle app confidentially or better yet give the council the information of the people who created the app. Miss Goodwitch dully read out said file from her own scroll. Ozpin merely loudly sipped at his coffee mug in a frank denial of the request before he began to speak. Granted, the awakened auras will put more of a strain on the Vale's wall, but even tripling the number of weak garbage civilian-grade hunters to clear out the areas just outside Vale will do the city great good. And frankly, perhaps it's for the best that Beacon is seen encouraging the youths who couldn't make it into Beacon, to begin with, as there is never enough space in actual combat schools to be fair. Ozpin mused as he knew there were literally never enough hunters, as only 30 to maybe 40% actually pass Beacon's initiation, with the other 20% of the failures dying in the test itself. Goodwitch grunted before she gave Ozpin a dirty look as she spoke. "Don't even dream of having me teach those teenagers who never even properly held a weapon before. I am not a weapon user anyway," she warned Ozpin, making him smile lightly as he shrugged. "Actually, I have a better idea. We do have a friend with extra helping hands, as it were. It wouldn't be much to ask Jake if he could loan one of his people to help teach some beginner combat training to the people of Vale, would it?" Ozpin thought aloud, and Goodwitch shrugged in response. "Perhaps, but he has been busy spending his time with Weiss Schnee for the last week after our meeting and only does his schoolwork so he can fit in with the rest of his classmates. Until I am forced to call his turn in the fighting ring and his opponent instantly surrenders, not wanting to be drowned and electrocuted in a ball of water that he strikes with lightning repeatedly," Goodwitch said dryly. Ozpin snorted as he knew even well-trained decent huntsmen would fall extremely short of a wizard with even mediocre magical might. And Jake was no such practitioner, with his magical might being capable of being felt across the world in whatever ritual he performed that day he brought about this Oracle app. "Ah!" Glinda called out, grimacing as she looked down to her scroll. "Another settlement is being attacked and needs our help." Truly, Jake's gift to humanity was both great and terrible. Across the world in the darkest corner of the lands laid a tower both terrible and dull, with no signs of life besides the monstrous Grimm that constantly prowled the surroundings. Within that monument to darkness and depression sat Salem, Queen of the Grimm, as she eyed Arthur Watts, her servant that specialized in technological matters, with obvious distaste. "And what do you mean you cannot stop these ads coming onto my scroll? I know for a damned fact that there are no hot single ladies in my area," she all but roared at the end at the cringing form of Arthur Watts, who shrunk under her glare. But then Salem's scroll pinged in answer to her loud question as the AI within the phone answered the question instead. "Salem, as you put in your account's profiles and the pictures taken of you, you have declared your marital status as divorced and single, ready to mingle. And most importantly, according to available information from your pictures, you qualify as an exotic faunus beauty with your cow-themed pale white and black splotched skin." The AI in the phone said with little inflection other than sounding just generally cheery as Salem's face twitched and resisted the urge to crush the scroll in her hands. She didn't want to spend another 6 hours setting up and downloading the app and all her previous methods of entertainment when the signal here in the Grimlands was terrible, to say the least. But then Salem froze as she mechanically looked at the scroll in her hands as she spoke softly. "Oracle. What do you mean pictures?" she asked carefully as her eyebrow began twitching and her voluptuous chest began to rise and drop with her almost panting breaths when her eyes tightened into glowing red slits. And once again the Oracle AI gleefully answered with no shame or care to Salem's feelings. "Ah, Moni Salami 69, when you signed up for YouTube and the accessory apps you agreed to the terms of service, which included waiving control over your microphone, camera, and GPS location settings so we could forward local ads and businesses for your perusal." Wordlessly Salem placed down her scroll, and as she looked to Arthur Watts, He pissed himself with his dark pants turning darker as his form was instantly crushed between two pillars of ice Salem conjured with her magic. Pity about him. But he should have kept his ears to himself. Salem sighed with distaste before she waved for some Beowulf standing guard in the corner of the room to remove what's mangled remains as she took back up her scroll. Nothing much happened for the next few minutes as she coasted around watching short videos that would allow the hours of the day to blur by, so she no longer had to think about her vengeance upon Ozpin or anything else. Just mindless entertainment. Oracle, what in the world do you mean there is a hot single man in my area? Who the hell is this Jake that fits my profile? Salem screeched as that weird dating app that came with her Oracle app pinged loudly and blocked half her video with the notification.